buenos días. As my partners have said, my name is Bazan. I'm the director for the Pharr International Bridge. I'm excited to be here, glad to see, as Victor pointed out, some familiar faces. But more importantly, the faces of those developers, the faces of future development, faces of future growth, right? Because that's why we're here. That's why we put these types of programs on in the first place. You cannot have industrial development or investments without an international bridge. We're very fortunate in the city of Pharr with the visionary leadership of our mayor, Dr. Ambrosio Hernandez, our board of directors. I know that Tony's here, our vice president. Without their visionary leadership, steadfast leadership, we would not be here today talking about all these wonderful things that the city of Pharr is doing. We're very fortunate to have both. Not just the Pharr International Bridge, but the industrial development side. More importantly, I want to point out, as Victor might have said earlier, we're working on an initiative, the Pharr Border Business Advancement Initiative. This is an initiative between the bridge, the chamber, and the EDC. We've been at it for about, I would say, 9 to 10 months. We've been working a lot before that on it, but I think it's gotten to the point now where we're starting to understand what this whole thing means. Brian Molina's also mentioned, nobody else is really doing this. So we're very happy, we're very excited about what the future holds. We stand by our word, we stand by our commitments, and more importantly, having skin in the game, as they say. It's not just about talking it, it's about doing it. It's about actually putting things into action and making things move forward. With the presentations you're going to see today, it's a fairly new presentation. We've been very fortunate to be traveling with this presentation, doing some promotional work. As they might have mentioned, we're also members of Index Reynosa, Index Nacional. We're members of CAREM locally and CAREM Nacional. This means that is the way we learn about the needs of our end users, those that are crossing the bridge, the folks that are there day in, day out, moving product across this bridge, whether it be by way of import or export. We're here to support that. But we joined these associations. We just came back from Mérida, Yucatan. We were out there 2-3 weeks ago, and we were there presenting to an audience of over 500 to 600 people at the Index Nacional convention. And with that, again, we're trying to get in front of those future investors, future companies, future forward thinkers moving forward. Because a lot of the times, I think we put out so much information out there that it gets kind of flooded. It gets diluted with so much data, so many numbers, so many things. But it's not until people see the presentation and kind of envision what's coming in the future that we're able to kind of make sense of it and say, okay, I get it now. I see what this is all about. I understand it now, and this is what Pharr is doing to enhance trade, to move trade forward, to also encourage investment, because we need it. One of the reasons why at the Pharr Bridge we started Industrial Warehouse Summit last year was because we got wind by doing a lot of research, doing our due diligence, that there's not enough warehouse space out there. In the past, Pharr invested about $10 or $11 million at the Pharr Produce District. That has grown. It took a long time to get there. And that's all for cold warehouse, but we don't have enough dry warehouse space. So how are we going to support nearshoring? How are we going to support future investment? We have to have both. We have to have the bridge, and we have to have the services on the U.S. side. So with that, let me get started real quick. Most of you know us, of course. That's why you're here. Most of you have even used our bridge, but we're strategically located. Logistically speaking, we have excellent logistics. As you can see, we connect to all the major corridors between Mexico and the United States and beyond. So as of last year, we started putting together a strategic plan. We wanted to be known, like I say, for a legacy. What are you leaving behind, right? So for us, it's important to have a mission and a vision. Our mission is to provide excellent global trade services. And our vision is that the Pharr International Bridge will be recognized as the state's best-in-class trade service provider. So what are we doing? We're more than just a bridge. And I'll be be alluding to that further as we get into the presentation, and our value proposition is efficiency. So strategic location, again, just going back to the basics, right? Who is the Pharr International Bridge? Why are we here? So as you can see, we're a key partner for your imports and exports through Mexico, United States, and beyond. We're a strategic location that brings commercial advantages, such as the intermodal alliance that we have with the Port of Brownsville. What do I mean by that? So yes, we don't have the port here, we don't have the maritime port here, we don't have railways here. But by having these agreements with the Port of Brownsville, as an example, we become intermodal in one way or another. As a matter of fact, on Friday, we have another program, which I'll be highlighting here in a few minutes, called Trade Talks. And at Trade Talks, we're gonna hear from Arturo Gomez from the Port of Brownsville, and he's gonna give you more about this information, about all their developments, what they're working on. But we've been working with the Port of Brownsville for over 10 years now, and we're excited to take that to the next level. Competitive benefits and advantages for future opportunities of your supply chain. I always like to say when we go out there and promote, Pharr Bridge is more than just a bridge, because we're also 3 miles of your supply chain. Why 3 miles? Because that's the length of the bridge, where we like to consider ourselves as a crucial element of your supply chain at the end of the day. So our numbers, stats. You know, I talked about numbers earlier. We hate to overstat things, but it's important to also recognize what this means. About 10 years ago, also about 11 years ago, we started commissioning a study through an organization called World City. As a matter of fact, also on Friday, Ken Roberts of World City will be here to highlight what these numbers mean and how they come about. So for 2023, our imports totaled almost $30 billion in trade. That was an increase of almost 10%. Our export totaled almost $17 billion in trade, which was an increase of 4.5%. So that just tells you where we stand. So right now, where are we? We're at about $50 billion in trade with Mexico and the rest of the world, Mexico being our #1 trade partner. The importance of time, as you can see there in the clock. And what I want you to also observe from this presentation, as I mentioned earlier, is forward movement, continuous improvement, streamlining, truck throughput, just movement. Because again, what is our value proposition? Efficiency. We want to become the most efficient and safest corridor. We want to become the most efficient and safest land port of entry. So if you look at the numbers, just big data, as they say, 70% of what we cross is manufactured or finished goods. 20% is perishables and produce. So I know we do a lot with produce, and even though we're the #1 produce bridge in the nation, and you'll see these figures here in a few minutes, that the value is much lesser than manufactured goods, obviously. And then 10% is energy or oil and gas. So again, just what you're gonna see there is basically the $50 billion in trade. And what I was gonna say there, because I skipped through it, was that we're growing at about 3% month to month, year to date. So everyone likes to talk about truck traffic. How many trucks do we cross? How many trucks do we cross on a good day, on a bad day? So here it is. So the northbound trucks, about 3,200 trucks, and these are during peak months, and 2,700 trucks during slow months. For southbound trucks, this is everything that's going into Mexico. That's obviously where we make our revenue as a bridge. That's where we charge our tolls for the city. 3,000 during peak months, 2,500 during slow months. And these are numbers, as CBP likes to say, these numbers are not vetted, but these are numbers based on our crossings reports and the newest figures that CBP has shared with us as far as what they're seeing going through the port. And what you're seeing in the background there, again, forward movement. But what you probably don't realize is what you're seeing there are images and videos of our projects. I mentioned skin in the game. I mentioned investments. We're putting a lot of money into this, as Lilibet mentioned earlier, but you're gonna see why we're doing what we're doing. Let me talk a little bit more about perishables. We all eat during COVID. The numbers spiked tremendously when it came to perishables. We were crossing upwards of 15,000 to 17,000 loads per month, even throughout the summer months. Right now, I think we've already surpassed that for the year. We're at about over 200,000 loads or shipments of fresh produce that's grown in Mexico that's crossed through this bridge. So we're very proud of that. So again, 5% yearly average on imports of produce. What does that mean? That we're crossing over 60% for the state and over 30% for the nation. So again, we're feeding America, we're feeding the nation, and we're going to continue to push on that. There are organic products out there that we're not yet crossing through here. We've also been talking to some people that move beef and poultry, things of that nature. Again, we all have to eat. That's going to continue. So we need to continue to push the envelope when it comes to agriculture, alimentario, como dicen. So here it is, the #1 border crossing in the nation for produce, the 3rd largest trade hub on the Texas-Mexico border. This is behind El Paso, which is Isleta Zaragoza, and Laredo, and then it's us. We're the 7th for total trade amongst other border crossings by value, and we're the 29th amongst all the border crossings, amongst all the maritime ports, seaports, and out of all the airports, which represents over 450 in the nation. So we're 29th, we're ranked 29th there. A quick look at our top 5 exports. So here we are. And again, these are all 2023 figures, and we continue to monitor them, but they kind of stay within the same realm. So #1 export for us is gasoline. And you can see the value right there in billions of dollars. #2 is liquefied natural gas. 3rd is pork. 4th is motor vehicle parts, so obviously supporting the automotive industry. And then #5 is computer chips. And again, those are the values. That is what it means. That is how much product we're crossing through this bridge. When I showed this at Merida, it's kind of funny to see this video because of the way we try to exaggerate things that kind of show the purpose of like, what does it really mean? And what I was telling them was that, we're manufacturing together. When we were talking over there, I overheard a lot of the conversation about, they were saying this key word, what's the word? Compartido. All together. Está compartido. It means that we share everything together. So that's what this means. We have to continue to push for trade with Mexico and the U.S. We have to continue to push through this. Regardless of the geopolitical atmosphere, regardless of the geoeconomic atmosphere, we have to continue pushing for this. And if we don't have the proper infrastructure, if we don't have the right people, if we don't have the right associations and the right leadership behind it, we're never going to get there. So at the end of the day, this is just to show that we're crossing more and we're expecting more in the future. And we know we're going to get there. Why? Because of the projects that we have in mind. Now we'll just look at our top 5 imports. #1, TVs and computer monitors. #2, avocados. Happy to announce that this week the city of Pharr is celebrating Fresh on the Border. Fresh on the Border is a series of events that revolves around the avocado. So it'll all culminate at the end of the week, actually on Saturday, with the 2nd annual Avocado Festival, which the city invites you. This is our connection to the community. More importantly, today we're actually kicking off Fresh on the Border with this event, with Industrial Warehouse Summit Part 4. Tomorrow, the Pharr Bridge is hosting a Drive for Trade, 1st annual golf tournament that we've been talking about. On Thursday, we have our start of the produce season, on our 11th year start of the produce season event. For those that have been there, you know what it's like. We already have 150 people registered for this event. It takes place outside the bridge. And that's when we basically do a fruit cutting ceremony to celebrate el inicio de la temporada de perecederos de agrícola. So with that, avocados are huge. Green gold, as they call it. We're even bigger during the Super Bowl. So we're very excited that now the market has even shifted and it's open, and now we're also crossing avocados from Jalisco. And that's been going on for about 2 years now. So we're very excited about that. We're going to continue with this new tradition of the Avocado Festival. We invite you. On Friday, I'm going to show you a flyer here in a minute. The event that we're hosting here at the DRC called Trade Talks. And I'll go into a little bit further detail later, but it's important to be here as well because that's where you're going to be able to learn, just like we've been learning from all these trade associations that we're members of. Everybody that is out there, everybody that we've joined, everybody that we've been collaborating with will be here that day on Friday. And we're also gonna do a special presentation on the avocado and produce. So third, as you can see, insulated wire and cable. Fourth, medical instruments. Also, medical instruments peaked, or actually was at an increase during COVID, because a lot of manufacturing revolved around, PPP and stuff like that. So we saw an increase there, but we have been seeing an increase since 2017 with medical instruments. We're going to continue to track that. And then the number 5 is berries. So berries represent the number 5 import for us, and that is the value right there. Same year, we're looking at some pilot programs with some berry importers to ensure that we can get them across in a timely fashion, get them to their end market, to the end consumer on time. Because berries, they tend to spoil fairly quickly if you don't eat them quickly, and they're not cheap. So all this talk about the bridge, I know even Karina joked about it, well, otra vez, sí, otra vez, y aquí vamos a seguir. Why? Because we have these projects, we have these things we've been talking about for so long. As you can see here, our DAP 15, what does DAP stand for? Donations Acceptance Program. You might have heard me talk about that many, many times. We were the first bridge, we were the pioneering bridge to enter into this program, which was a program created by CBP, Customs and Border Protection, inside the port, to basically develop relationships, develop agreements that could allow us to put our money where our mouth is. Again, to put skin in the game, to invest in infrastructure, donate that infrastructure to the federal government so that they can operate more effectively and more efficiently. So what are we doing with DAP 15? DAP 15 is basically 2 additional commercial entry lanes or primaries, 2 additional commercial exit lanes, which will have gate-to-gate service for increased truck throughput and reduced truck wait times. So this project right now is basically hinging on TxDOT to finish their side, which is right here. So if you take a look at this right here, this is the Border Safety Inspection Facility. These are the new exits that we have. So with that, we're going to be going gate to gate, from primaries to secondaries, or gate to gate for anything that's certified. If you're a certified conveyance, if your entire supply chain is certified, you'll be going gate to gate without having to step foot inside the import lot at all. Unless, of course, there's an anomaly with your ACE manifest or something's going on with your system, then CBP will push you in there. But we're counting on becoming completely gate to gate. Right now, that's representative of about 30% of the trade of the trucks that cross through here are certified. Our goal is to get to 60% within the next 5 to 6 years. So again, this project was we actually did a ribbon cutting for this project back on July the 29th. But again, we're just waiting on TxDOT to open up those exits so that we can become fully operational. And then our DAP 16. Oh, and I didn't mention DAP 15. And this is kind of goes to show how long these projects take. DAP 15, why? Because that's when we signed the agreement. That's when we started working on this project since 2015. We finally broke ground on DAP 15 back during COVID, during November of 2020, and we finally finished the project this year. That's how long these projects take. Unfortunately, I have my good friend here, Ruben Alfaro, former city engineer who knows it best. But so the next one in line, what is it? DAP 16. We just awarded this project to get started between October and November of this year. So what this means is basically we're expanding the import lot. The entire import lot will be expanded. As you can see, there's going to be a whole new area for dry goods, una plataforma para todo producto en seco. And then we're going to have a whole new area consisting of 13 bays for cold inspection. Not to be confused with cold storage. A lot of people call it cold storage. Even the federal government calls it cold storage. We're not storing anything in here. We're moving product forward. And so, but we're increasing our footprint for all that cold, so we won't break that cold chain for all that produce that's coming across and the more that's coming. And then third, we're having our regional ag laboratory and training center. Why? Because we're seeking, again, efficiency. We need to ensure that our products are better. We need to ensure that our products are safe to consume in the United States. By having all these together, you're looking at about 70,000 square feet of increased footprint for these services inside the Pharr International Bridge. Further, the Regional Ag Training Center will help train future ag specialists and future entomologists with USDA, so we can have what they call cargo release authority, so we can have an inspection process that's just streamlined and more efficient. And then, at the end of the day, the bridge expansion. For those of you that are crossing the bridge now, that have seen the improvement, that have seen, el avance, como dicen, el avance del proyecto, you're going to see that there's already a second span on the Mexico side. And as a matter of fact, unofficially, and I say that unofficially because it is not our side, it's Mexico's side, they've opened already. They've opened 50%, we've opened 50% of the bridge, if you want to think about it that way. Because all the trucks that are going through the Pharr Bridge right now, going southbound into Mexico, cars will continue on the same route, on the same bridge, but trucks are being diverted towards the new bridge to enter the import lot in Reynosa. So what is that doing? Increased capacity, streamlining, truck throughput, whatever buzzwords you want to use, but it's making us more efficient at the end of the day. So I'm happy to report that with this, I think Lily also mentioned a little bit about it, basically increasing the bridge capacity by 100%, another 4 lanes, but more importantly, fast lanes. We're going to have fast lanes, free and secure trade lanes, all the way from Mexico to the United States. Desde el inicio de la ruta fiscal, from the start of the fiscal route in Reynosa, there's everybody familiar with El Caracol, that area in Reynosa where all the roads meet up and then they come to Pharr. That's where the fiscal route is going to start. That's where we're going to have 2 fast lanes all the way to Mexico. That means that if you're certified, and all your supply chain is certified, your truck, your driver, your process, your product, everything, you're going to be able to get across this bridge in 10 minutes without even being inspected by CBP. Again, unless CBP spots an anomaly within your ACE manifest or anything of that matter, or it's a red flag for one reason. But that's why it's important to continue to improve on your CTPAT compliance, because that's only going to make it better, and it's only going to open the doors for more. So again, we're excited about this. When I presented this at Mérida, a lot of people, especially from the interior of Mexico, were not too familiar with the territory. They didn't know that we were working on a second span. So it was great to be there with our friends, Luis Mendez and Raúl Setien, and more importantly, our president for Index Reynosa, Mr. Martinez, Humberto Martinez, because they were able to introduce us to a lot of these companies that are now looking at Pharr as an alternative, and potentially in the future, their number 1 route. Why? Because again, we're going to guarantee at some point where we'll guarantee that we will start eliminating wait times. Not just reducing wait times, eliminating wait times. Because we want all conveyances, we want all your products to get across in an efficient manner. We have to increase our truck throughput. We have to ensure that we're continuing to drive trade forward. But we need everybody's help. And this is just a quick video of the Mexico side. Just a recap of all the work that they did. These guys, I've never seen anything like it. They broke ground. They broke ground on March of 2023. They got to work immediately in April, started prefabricating the beams for the bridge in Reynosa, and now they're done with the bridge. They were supposed to finish at the end of this calendar year, November, December, or last quarter of 2024, but they're done already. And they kept their word, they kept their promise. When I was going to Mérida and we were driving through, you could still see the last leg of that. I said, man, there's no way they're gonna get that done in a week. Well, they got it done in a week. And when they got it done in a week, again, unofficially, they didn't even announce it to the aduana. They didn't even announce it to our customs brokers. They didn't announce it to anybody. Next thing we know, trucks are already crossing through there. So again, it's just a testament to the fact that when you really set your mind to it, when you really go out there and do all the work, get all the right people working together, develop your core teams, develop your workforce that's going to be pushing this, and more importantly, when you get the funding behind it, when you get the leadership behind it, when you get your plans behind it, and you have all that cluster of good things happening and mixed up, this is the end result. So right now, I'm happy to report that on our side, we started moving dirt on August the 5th. But we didn't break ground until August the 14th. We broke ground not just for the bridge expansion, but also for the DAP 16 project, which I've already mentioned. So right now, this project, our side of the bridge expansion, 50% of that, which is about 1.5 miles, is already at about 15% of its construction. So it's moving fast. We're hoping that weather delays and things of that nature will not, delay the project further, because we want to get done. And what is our timeline? November 24th of 2025. So next year, November, our bridge will be open, fully operational. And we will make it official then, along with Mexico in the partnership. Right now, Mexico's working to ensure that they bring their new president, Sheinbaum, to the table. I know she's very excited about this. We've been hearing from Coconal, which is the construction company in Mexico. And obviously they also had to, como dicen, entregarle el proyecto al presidente, right? So that's why they did that also, unofficially. But at the end of the day, we want Sheinbaum to come out here. We're looking at potentially doing an inauguration officially with Mexico for half of the bridge. And if all goes well, we might even be doing this at the midpoint of the bridge. So we'll see how that turns out. Again, we're following their footsteps. It's their plans, but we're here to help them out along the way. So with that, again, greatness comes in twos, guys. Greatness comes in twos. Two heads think better than one, as they say. And that's why we're more than just a bridge. We're more than just a bridge because we're going to have two bridges. So physically, literally speaking, two bridges. But more importantly, we bring more to the table. We bring the Pharr Border Business Initiative. We bring other programs such as Bridge Connect, Trade Talks on Friday. And with that, real quick, just going to put up a flyer for Trade Talks on Friday. And thank you all very much. We hope you guys can make it on Friday. It's going to be a great program, and we can't wait to be there. Thank you all very much.